Lu Sheng very quickly creates a tornado over the sea that is even bigger than Zhao Jai Martial Saint. The next moment all the energy got compressed into a point, and with a smile Lu Sheng told her to control herself. Things were about to get intense. This is the first time that the Martial Saint starts observing Lu Sheng so closely. There is no reaction on his face. He looks at him very intently. Lu Sheng stretched out his legs and prepared to attack, which made the energy more intense. He looked at the ground and first concentrated the power of his 10 immortal cells into his legs, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. His expression changed and his gaze was filled with surprise. He was shocked to see our boy move while he was distracted. Still trying to figure out where Lu Sheng was, Zhao Jai suddenly found our boy in front of him. Without hesitation, Lu Sheng punched Zhao Jai in the face, concentrating the power of the immortal cells into his fist, which shot a powerful golden explosion at Zhao Jai body. Lu Sheng's attack was so powerful that Zhao Jai couldn't do anything. The air rippled, and it completely shattered Zhao Jai martial avatar. His face starts to crack due to Lu Sheng's punch, and he angrily says, "How can there be one? Look what you did." Our boy didn't respond, only staring the dude down, while Zhao Jai's body started to crumble. Shocked and furious, Zhao Jai realized that Lu Sheng had completely destroyed his mortal vessel. Meanwhile, the Eastern Marshal was overcome with excitement, shouting Lu Sheng's name and calling him the greatest hope of the military. By now, Zhao Jai's body finally collapsed completely, only to reveal a golden figure slowly emerging from within. "Looks like we are about to start stage 2. Lu Sheng took a deep breath and said quietly, "Finally, the pedestal has been destroyed. Now it was time for the real fight." Rain poured down, splashing into the sea as Lu Sheng calmly called out Zhao Jai's name, announcing that he would now begin the slaughter of the saint. The 5 marshals exchanged uneasy glances. They couldn't believe their ears. Did Lu Sheng just say he was going to slay a saint? The officers on the deck were equally stunned, their expressions filled with awe and disbelief. They suddenly recalled what Lu Sheng had said earlier. Clearly, this was all part of his plan, and he had always expected the martial saint to show up. He'd prepared for this battle long before it began, and now he was actually doing it. All eyes were on Lu Sheng. To everyone watching, this was nothing short of legendary. In 300 years of martial arts history, there have been many legendary battles, some even favoring the underdog. But an 8th level defeating a 9th level. That had never happened. This was believed to be an impossible gap to cross. Yet Lu Sheng seemed like he might just make the impossible happen. The marshals decided they should at least do something. One of them admitted they couldn't do much against the martial saint. One of them pointed out they still had their planes and warships, and they could still fire their artilleries. Even if it didn't work, they'd at least make a statement. Just like that, orders began rolling out, and the officers on deck sprang into action. The Eastern Marshal roared, saying the backbone of the military had been bent for far too long. It was time to finally stand tall. Artilleries and rockets extended from the front and sides of the warship. And at the Marshal's command, a barrage of shells fired toward the Martial Saint. "To hell with the Martial Saint," they yelled. Meanwhile, Zhao Jai's true form hadn't fully appeared yet. Looking up, he was greeted by the sight of countless shells raining down on him. He casually raised a hand, and a protective barrier formed around him. All of the shells froze midair, suspended like they'd hit an invisible wall. With a simple wave of his hand, the dense barrage of shells reversed direction, flying back toward the warship. Flames erupted as the ships caught fire, and Zhao Jai, cold and emotionless, stared at Liu Sheng. He tells him that these people would all die because of him, because of his ignorant defiance. Look, RMC is so op, even his sleeves and clothes regenerate too. RMC, however, didn't even flinch. He looked at the rippling sea beneath his feet for a moment, before lifting his head to meet the Martial Saint's icy glare, calm but firm. He tells him that these were true warriors, soldiers with unbroken spines, who would never cower, even against an unbeatable opponent. With disdain, our boy sneered at Zhao Jai, pointing out that he was someone who didn't even dare to reveal his true form, even when coming for revenge, which explains why he doesn't know what's real courage. With that, Liu Sheng threw out a punch. To him, Zhao Jai was nothing more than a cowardly turtle hiding in its shell. He wasn't about to give Zhao Jai any room to breathe. Punch after punch flew toward him with relentless force, leaving him struggling to keep up. Enraged, Zhao Jai finally roared and began his counterattack. Their blows collided in a storm of blurred fists, too fast to count. Liu Sheng's movements grew faster, his senses sharper, and Zhao Jai quickly realized that he couldn't land a hit. In an instant, it became clear. Liu Sheng had mastered the deadly precision of killing intent perception and the fourth realm movement technique. Before Zhao Jai could react, Liu Sheng landed a solid punch across his face. Rubbing his cheek, he begrudgingly admitted that RMC had some skill, and he knew without using his true strength, it'd be impossible to kill Liu Sheng today. The next moment, Zhao Jai clasped his hands together and an immense energy surged from his body. The energy began to weave itself into the form of a towering figure, hundreds of meters tall. As the colossal martial avatar materialized over the ocean, Liu Sheng looked small and insignificant in comparison. Laughing maniacally, Zhao Jai began taunting, saying he wanted to see how the little bug would escape now. The marshals watched in shock as Zhao Jai unleashed his real martial avatar. This was the perfect fusion of his physical body and martial will. Perhaps this was the true might of a 9th-level martial saint. End of the day, no matter how skilled and powerful, no 8th level could produce such immense energy, let alone fight against it. Realizing this was Zhao Jai's final trump card. The marshals knew they had to protect Liu Sheng at all costs. Meanwhile, Zhao Jai, still sneering, called our boy a bug and declared his intent to crush him underfoot. But Liu Sheng, standing before the massive figure, found the whole spectacle hilarious. With a smirk, he remarked that all the flashy theatrics reminded him of an Ultraman knockoff. Memories of his relentless preparations flooded his mind, the countless times he had simulated the future in the dream realm. Come think of it, it was almost laughable now. Snapping back to reality, Liu Sheng's eyes sharpened as he entered the martial god state. But this time, he achieved perfect fusion. When Zhao Jai's towering figure launched a full-force attack, RMC's eyes turned crimson red and lightning-like energy crackled around him. Does anyone still remember where we saw this move before? Anyway, raising one hand, and with a single, swift motion, he sliced through Zhao Jai's massive martial avatar. Zhao Jai let out a cry of pain, stumbling back in disbelief. His face twisted with shock as he stared at Liu Sheng. What kind of power is this? He questioned. Liu Sheng, unbothered, gave him a mocking look. It's hard to explain to a country bumpkin martial saint. You're just too weak to understand.